such an asshole.
All right, we got a request. If you have a request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com, where I give you the advice that nobody else gave you because somebody ran off your father, I won't mention who, or your dad was around, or your dad, more commonly, with modern day American fathers, are weak, sad, pathetic pieces of shit who have no real world experience, but to tell you what you'll get a degree, be a good boy. I don't know. I just married your mother. Now you came. What's going on? Morning, Aaron. I'm a 23-year-old accounting grad and currently testing for my CPA exams. Good for you. I'm also working full-time on top of that as instructed by the mandatory slave period in every young man's life video. Good for you. You will be no mo. Soon. That said, I've saved roughly $12,000 in cash on top of an FU fund, which is $5,000 per your advice. No, $5,000? Is that 3 to 6 months living? You can live 3 months on $5,000. That's quite impressive. I think you need more than $5,000. You take your $12,000, add to the $5,000, that's $17,000. Okay, now that's an FU fund, micro FU fund. Zero debt and paid for my van in cash, which I used to live out of throughout college. Good for you, man. Look at that. Van Man. Van Man, he's been down in Florida. I think he was in the Keys this year. Go look up Van Man. You'd appreciate his channel. And for those of you interested in van life, go subscribe to Van Man. My van is beginning to get very high in mileage at 160,000. Currently, no problems with it as I take very intensive care of it. Okay, it should take care of you then. But it might be time to start looking for a new vehicle before there are major issues. Where are you going to put it, right? One of the drawbacks of van life is you don't have property to store your van, or you don't have property to store other vehicles. So, I mean, where would you put a motorcycle if you're doing van life? However, since you mentioned the bullshit modern cars are adding, I'm considering getting a Honda Rebel 1100 bagger motorcycle, as it is something I can commute to work with and allows me to do my own maintenance on. Would be roughly $10,000 for an older Honda. Whoa. Well, I could be crazy here. I bought my motorcycle in Sarasota, Florida. Now, this is quite some time ago. Yes, it was $5,000. Yes, it was quite some time ago. But I distinctly remember, he's in Florida, by the way. I distinctly remember having my choice of motorcycles, because what happens down there in Florida is boomers go down, come on, baby, light my fire. I'm Steve McQueen. They get a motorcycle. They drive it a little bit. They have one too many close calls, especially in Florida, and they sell it on the cheap. I'd go hunting around. That's pretty pricey for a motorcycle. I also have a genuine entrepreneurship idea I thought of that, based off of my research from an accounting perspective, has a high probability of success and profitability. But I would only be able to pursue this after my CPA license, as I need to commit my full attention and time to passing the license requirement first. Yeah, I mean, obviously. I'm all for you running it. I mean, but keep in mind, your default backup as a CPA, if your license is a CPA, you have forever employment anytime you want running a tax practice, right? You go work your 4 months out of a year, and then you go do whatever you want for the remaining 8. So I'm for you pursuing that entrepreneurship idea. From your experience as both a biker and an entrepreneur, would you even recommend looking at a used motorcycle as my main form of transportation? You're going to have to rent a place, man, like a physical place. Unless you're renting, like you're in an RV lot where you could leave a motorcycle. Would you advise I invest that money for future business and just hold on to the van if it's running okay for now? The modern car market for even used vehicles looks completely insane to me, as used vehicles cost $20,000 to $30,000 and have unnecessary upselling features such as the car turning itself off at stops. Frankly, I'm puzzled why that would even be a feature for a car. Privileged, rich, boring white women. There, that's why. Now you know. Wouldn't it be nice if the car just like nagged you, if like you were like, looking too long to the left, like we put cameras and everything in there and we know everything you're doing? Wouldn't that be great? Thank you, white women, for your input. And then the auto manufacturer people, oh my God, the white women said, oh, well, if the white women said we have to put it in right away now, shouldn't we ask other people? Who? What other people? There's other people? Yeah. Frankly, I'm puzzled why that would even be a feature for a car. I thank you for advice as the Gran Torino Clint Eastwood type of personality who will be 100% blunt with me. Happy hiking. All right, so your entrepreneurship has nothing to do with whether you have a motorcycle or not. So fine with your entrepreneurship. I know saving money. The real issue is where you're going to put the motorcycle if you're living van life. That's my main concern. Unless you're at a physical place now and you're not doing van life, you just happen to have a van and there's a place to park another vehicle. Which in that case, I'm saying, well, then why aren't you doing van life to save the money? Right? As long as you got a van, and let's admit it, you're a young 20-something guy, you're studying for your CPA, you're not getting laid, right? There's no women involved. There's no women in this life. And you're talking about the meandering and the wandering desert for 40 years. Not that you wandered for 40 years. Why don't you just keep living in the van? Because here's the thing. You're taking good care of it, right? If you take good care of the vehicle, and it does depend on the type of vehicle and the model and all that other stuff, but generally you could make it last pretty long. And I would not worry about this until you start having problems with your van. So keep going until, what are you saving? You're down in Florida. You're saving what? $1,500 a month easy? Not renting a place if you live in the van. So I would continue to do van man life, right? That's what I would do. And then down the road, once you have a physical place where you have a place to put your motorcycle and the van is truly kaput, you're like, I don't want to do van man life no more. I want to get like a 1-bedroom or studio apartment. Then I'd think about getting the motorcycle. But while you're doing van life, no, don't get a motorcycle. And your van probably is in pretty good shape. Do the maintenance, maintain it, and all that. That's going to save you more money for your entrepreneurial idea. Now, I asked, so for now, let's hold off on the motorcycle. And because you're in Florida, if you happen to be at a place like where you park your van and there's a place for your motorcycle, why not a moped? Let's start with a moped first. One of them electric bikes. Let's do that so you get a little of experience knowing what it's like to ride a motorcycle, something that you don't need a license for. I would still take the safety motorcycle course, but let's start with a moped unless you have to ride on the interstate. But if you could get there on a moped or electric bike, that's what I would do, and then revisit the motorcycle thing. Because here, I said, where do you live? Year-round may not be possible. I live in Florida. Okay, so year-round is possible, but not an urban hellhole like Miami, so traffic also will not be nearly as dangerous. God, man. I bought my motorcycle in Sarasota, drove it all the way to Phoenix, dropped into Puerto Penasco, then went to San Diego, went to Vegas. No joke. The most dangerous part was going from Sarasota to Tallahassee. There are so many old retired people who do not know what the fuck they're doing. So many tourists. I don't care if you live inland. I'd be real careful. Let's start with a moped if you can do it. Just made investing in a motorcycle versus business. No. If your main concern is saving up money, do van life. Keep living in the desert for a little bit more. Get your CPA. This is your suffering time. Save up your money. If you're renting a place now, stop that. Live in your van. Okay? If you can find a place to park it and free and all that, keep doing van life. That's where you're going to save more money. Get your CPA. Run the business a little bit. Get an accounting or tax prep, something like get normal. Like, I don't know what your entrepreneurship idea is. Get some clientele in first, get some work, pay off your debts, build up a little bit of a cash reserve. Then try your entrepreneurial idea, whatever that might be. Although I'm trying to think as a CPA, what financial cost up front is it going to cost? You're just offering accounting services, I'd imagine, although maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, with Florida, let's start with a moped if it's not too far away. Let's stay in the van and not pay rent. Oh, that was the other thing. Going forward with vehicles, because vehicles are very important. I think you're going to want to have older vehicles. I think it's going to be cheaper to maintain these pre-digital Karen Nagmobiles that they got out now. If you want, go get my book, Zero World Problems. I talk about how newer cars are going to cost more than older cars, and you want to have cars. It depends, but say pre 2018. I'm never buying a new car. I never was going to buy a new car, but I'm definitely not buying a new car with all the right. I'm not buying a white woman's car. I'm not. Sorry. I don't want to be nagged to death. I'm getting things like 2018 and earlier. I will gladly pay for a 90s vehicle, get all the things upgraded or whatever. I am not having satellite connections and annoying all the alarm. No, I'm not doing it. And I think he's like, oh, these cars have all these devices and nagging things. Like, yeah, you don't have to buy them. Go get a 5 or even 10-year-old van that's got low miles. Have a mechanic look at it, a reliable mechanic. I think you're in other words, I think your van has more life than you think. So I would, and if you're doing van life, like, can't you park near where you're working inevitably when you get your CPA? And there's a gym nearby and you shower there. I I still hold on to the van. Your van is probably not in as bad a shape as you think. And maintain it, take care of it, and it'll still be cheaper than an apartment. And even if you make it last another 2 years, that's what, 2 times, let me do the math. 24 times 12. No, it's probably, all right, let's say 1,300 for rent. That's on the cheap. Times 24. $31,000, buddy. You could get another van, a really nice one for $31,000. Copy, you haven't looked at van prices. I'm like, no, you just haven't looked. I have it linked below, Bachelor Pad Economics. I have my patented system on how to go and find a vehicle. And I do talk about motorcycles, the when and where. I think chapter 10. Go get Bachelor Pad Economics, read through that chapter. But I think your van is not on its last legs if you've been taking care of it, and it still has some life left in it to provide you a rent-free life. All right, let's go to the super chats very quickly, then I have to have dinner. Stefan, and check out Van Man. Everyone subscribe to Van Man. Give that guy a little bit of a hello. 5 Canadian. Hello from the Banana Republic of Canada. Zero World Problems was an interesting listen. Good choice on the voice actor. Yeah, Keith Hughes has a very good voice. Very good voice. And Drew, $2. Got my motorcycle endorsement in the military. No regrets. Good for you, Drew. All right, that's it. Questions, answers, Asshole Consulting. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.